But what you're talking about, this gender neutrality, in the language of psychology, attachment, a lot of times relationship psychology is gender neutral when really we kind of get into the same messes and there's the same patterns of, husband and wife that we don't often talk about. In this case, the role of mother and father, I think that the fact that people don't know the differing roles, the fact that the mother is more attuned to emotions of distress and soothing those, while the father comes online a little bit later. His role at the beginning is more to create a holding environment for the mother as she creates her holding environment for the baby. But later on, as the baby grows up and starts to separate and starts to explore, the father kind of seduces the baby away from the mother into play, into rough and tumble play, also help the child, develop an awareness of their physical capabilities, and what hurts and what's fun and how to socialize with others, and this enforcing of boundaries and the regulation of aggression, for instance, and excitement. Men do this naturally, and just understanding what we're each good at, that we have different roles and we've evolved in different ways. Within that as well, we have our individual personalities, and some men might have a softer touch. Some women might have a difficult time with emotional attunement, but overall, these are the roles and these are the strengths that we've been given. It's better to use them instead of trying to constantly, even the playing field and equalize everything, which doesn't work. And I think just leads to a lot of frustration.
It's the idea of layering. I don't know if you know that in the old days, canvases were expensive. So painters
Hmm.
used to paint on top of paintings. They used to, overlay different
Right.
paintings. They would paint a painting and paint another painting on top. And there are ways of actually seeing deepest layer, using technology. You're
Oh,
seeing the
wow.
first painting. And if you will, even the mothers who struggle with nurturing, feel very disconnected, may have attachment disorders. And it's almost like the first layer of paint. You can see through to the instincts. Even if the
Right.
mother has layered on top of it over the years, or life is layered, defense and defense and defense, the instincts are somewhere deeply alive in that mother, even if they're buried very deep.
On the issue of the unique roles of mothers, the research shows that fathers are not interchangeable with mothers, but they also serve a critical function with babies in the first 5 years. Can you elaborate on that? What is it that they contribute? What's the vital role? Is it
Yeah,
different and equally important, or different and not as important?
it's different and equally important. But first, we have to admit that there's a difference. We have a problem in society, and that this sort of gender neutrality, I call it, says that there's no difference between men and women. And we know from biology that men and women respond to nurturing hormones differently. So we know that when mothers produce oxytocin, it affects their behavior in this way. It makes them what we call more sensitive empathic nurturers. They respond to baby's distress very vigilantly and are very sort of tuned in to the distressed emotions to get them back to that state of homeostasis. That's a healthy mother. There are lots of unhealthy mothers. When a healthy father produces oxytocin, it tends to come from a different part of the brain, and it has a different impact on a father's behavior. And that's a biological thing. A father who's loaded with oxytocin is more playfully stimulating with his baby. He engages his baby through play and physical play and almost distraction from distress. And that is a biological response to oxytocin. They have a different behavioral response. Fathers are critical to help children to separate from mothers. So, and the reason I'm saying that is their behavior, their nurturing behavior is to promote resilience. But you can't promote resilience before you've laid down the foundation of emotional security, which comes from sensitive empathic nurturing. So fathers play this critical role. So what we see in America is a lot of women who are having babies by going to sperm banks and whatever. And what we're seeing is that these babies can really attach to their mothers, but then they can't separate from their mothers. There isn't that counterforce of a father's nurturing, which is playful and, come away from your mother and it's great out here. We'll roll around in the grass and play ball. And so this kind of help with separation is a critical role of fathers. The other thing that fathers do is mothers regulate distress and fear, sadness, These are the emotions that oxytocin helps mothers to. They help mothers to regulate. When I say regulate, mothers are very good at helping to regulate stress and sadness. Fathers regulate aggression. So when we see in research, I have a colleague, Alan Shore. He's very famous for his research on the importance of fathers, and he talks about how when fathers are not present for children at a young age, those little boys become more aggressive because they have no one helping to regulate their aggression, because mothers don't regulate aggression as well as fathers regulate aggression. So they really serve different functions, right? You have to admit the difference. And I think the frustration as a therapist is the defensiveness, not the openness to say, gosh, organically, biologically, I am different.
I must say, when our kids were growing up, I noticed very clearly that all 4 children, boys and girls, looked to mum for warmth and nurture, particularly if they'd stubbed their toe. They squealed with delight when they thought dad might provide some stimulation and play and fun. And I also understand that from the research done by people like Warren Farrell and John Gray in the book The Boy Crisis, that the dad's role is very important in teaching a child how to delay their gratification, which is critical to making good long-term choices later in life. Like, I will make sacrifices now to spend time with my child so that child grows up to be secure in the longer term.
A father is of equal value as a mother, but they perform different functions for children. And I will say that is not socialization, that is biological. That is our biological response to our hormones.
As an experienced pediatrician explains,
I love kids. And I've learned over 30 years how critical, and I mean critical, dads are in the health, the emotional, physical, and spiritual health of their kids. Because we know moms are important. A father needs to be able to put himself behind his child's eyes and understand that a dad is the most important man in any child's life. Because a dad teaches us whether we can accept male love or be afraid of male love. Can we trust men or can we not trust men? Those are lessons we learn before we're 2 and 3 years old. But what does the research show about how good dads are for their kids? Well, there's a lot. One thing we know is that toddlers who have engaged fathers are better at problem solving. We know that dads who are engaged and spend more time with their kids before they're 3, those children, when they're tested at 3, test higher on IQ tests than kids who don't spend enough time with their dads. We know that kids who grow up with a father presence, not even a great dad, but a decent dad. Those kids are, when they hit the teen years, are much less likely, statistically significantly less likely to get involved in drugs, sex, and alcohol. So across the board, from a physical standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, psychological standpoint, intellectual standpoint,
that's crazy.
Dads across the board give kids an enormous leg up. One of the best things that we mom can do for our children is to help them have a better relationship with their dads.
Ways for dads to engage their kids is what? Like asking questions, being there, being present. Like what are just
being available, being attentive.
Yeah.
And dads have, as I said before, dads, I believe, have a leg up over mothers, because when they're home, dads focus on things more singularly than we do. They don't focus on the 8 things they need to do right now. They'll focus on, okay, I'm going to do this.
Multitaskers.
And then I'll go do this. They're sequential taskers. I'm going to go mow the lawn, then I'm going to chop wood. This is my husband. Then I'm going to chop my wood, then I'm going to exercise, and then I'm going to go do something with one of my kids. And when they're on with one of their kids, they're on.
Yes.
Fathers bond with their children through play and through activities and through recreation. We mothers, if we see our husbands take a child out for a bike ride and then the child comes back, did you have fun with dad? Did you have fun with dad? And it goes, oh yeah, we had a ball. What'd you talk about? Oh, we didn't talk. What? Then we go and we give our husband a lecture about the fact that he needs to talk to the child while they're biking.
Totally.
Because that's how we bond.
Right, I was going to say, that's what I
But that child comes home, my dad is the best dad. He loves me. We had so much fun. Life is good. Involve them in your day-to-day activities. If it's Saturday morning and you're going to go to get the oil changed in your car, ask your daughter to come.
So
and mother's
sweet.
like, what? Come on. She doesn't want to do that. Maybe she does. You know why? She just wants to know that her dad wants to be with her.
Okay, tell me if this is crazy, because when I was traveling, Winston texted me a picture of Amelia in a Home Depot shopping cart, and they were at a Home Depot on Saturday morning, just walking around. They didn't really have anything else to do, so they took her to Home Depot, and she was just smiling. He was like, she wouldn't stop waving at everyone, like she was so happy. Do you feel like even with babies, because it's my season of life, so I'm being selfish here, but even with like a baby as young as like 1, they pick it up, obviously, because of what you were just saying about even at 3. So
babies as a newborn know the difference between mom and dad. Absolutely, she knows. And what Amelia knows in that moment, deep in her character, because she'll never remember that moment, is life is good, daddy's safe, this is fun. That's
so
it.
good. Oh,
Life next to my dad is really good.
yes. Oh, it's so great.
The following are just some of the endless reasons children need a male and female parent. Mothers and fathers parent differently. Mothers and fathers play differently. Fathers push limits. Mothers encourage security. Mothers and fathers communicate differently. Fathers and mothers prepare children for life differently. Fathers provide a look at the world of men. Mothers, the world of women. Fathers and mothers teach respect for the opposite sex. When we disregard the gender distinctions of parental influence as unimportant or unnecessary, we seriously diminish the proper development of children. Kids need the active participation of a mother and a father, and both parents need to be true to their gender designs. Both bring different and equally important things to the parenting project. We impoverish children and society when we deny our kids the influence of a mother and father because we limit their development into full, healthy adults. Remember, although there are many heterosexuals who are terrible parents, there are also many heterosexuals who are amazing parents. Good parenting can only occur within a heterosexual model. Meanwhile, 100% of homosexual parents are, by definition, terrible parents, and it is simply not possible for homosexuals to be good parents. Bad heterosexual parents do not make homosexuals good parents, because the very act of intentionally robbing a child of at least one of his or her biological parents in order to force that child to accommodate a homosexual fetish, by definition, makes someone a terrible, horrible, abusive parent. Homosexuals have absolutely zero regard for a child's developmental requirement for both biological parents, because again, homosexuals are narcissists who view children as ego-boosting props, not as individual beings who require the love and care of a mother and a father. And it is for these reasons, and many others, that 100% of homosexuals should be banned from adopting children, or from purchasing children from surrogate prostitutes or from sperm banks. Remember, lesbian parenting is just as evil as male homosexual parenting, because both of these forms of parenting involve intentionally depriving a baby of at least one of their biological parents in order to accommodate adult sexual desires. Children need dual gender influence. Parenting is a misnomer. There is only mothering and fathering, each of which bring unique, irreplaceable benefits to a child's development. Women tend to focus on a child's emotional well-being and attend to children's immediate needs, while men tend to emphasize discipline and risk-taking. Children need both contrasting inherent traits. A dual-sex union also provides healthy male-female role modeling and establishes a template for their own future relationships. Motherhood is a distinct and sacred role with a sacred bond that cannot be replaced by fathers. Fatherhood is a distinct and sacred role with a sacred bond that cannot be replaced by mothers. Well, that is all for this video. If you found this video informative, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video on social media and with your friends and family. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. Bye for now.